My name is Tamara Washington. I'm 28 years old, and my stepmother has been poisoning my meals for 8 months. Small doses, carefully measured, designed to look like I was just getting sick naturally. Last Tuesday, while she was at church, I found her recipe book hidden in the pantry. But it wasn't recipes for Sunday dinner. It was a detailed log of every poison she'd been feeding me, the dosages, the symptoms she expected, and the date she planned for me to die. That date was 3 days away. If you think this is just another evil stepmother story, you're wrong. What I discovered about why she was killing me will shock you. And how I made her confess in front of everyone she cared about, that's the real revenge. But before I tell you how I survived and destroyed her life, if you believe evil should never win, hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I need to know I'm not alone in this fight. Now let me take you back to where this nightmare really began. 4 years ago, I had everything. I was 24 years old, working as a pediatric nurse at Children's Hospital in Atlanta. I loved my job, loved helping sick kids, loved making a difference. But most importantly, I had my daddy, Robert Washington. He was my whole world. My mama died when I was 16. Cancer took her fast and brutal. After that, it was just me and daddy. He raised me right, taught me to be strong, independent, never take mess from nobody. He worked as a contractor, built houses with his own 2 hands. Every Sunday, we'd have dinner together at his house, just us. We'd cook, laugh, watch football, talk about everything and nothing. Those Sundays were sacred. And then Daddy met Nicole. Nicole Mitchell, 42 years old, light-skinned woman with processed hair always done perfect, nails always perfect, makeup always perfect. She worked as a receptionist at a dental office. They met at a church function. Daddy started bringing her around, talking about her constantly. At first, I was happy for him. He'd been alone for 8 years. He deserved companionship, deserved love. Nicole seemed nice enough. She'd smile at me, ask about my work, compliment my hair. She played her role perfectly. 6 months after they started dating, Daddy told me he was going to propose. "Tamara, baby," he said, holding my hands across the dinner table. "I know this seems fast, but when you get to be my age, you don't waste time. Nicole makes me happy. She takes care of me. I want to spend my remaining years with someone." I should have been more suspicious of how fast it moved. I should have questioned why Nicole was so eager to marry a 58-year-old contractor. But I was focused on my nursing career, working double shifts, trying to save money for my own place. I was still living in a small apartment, barely making ends meet on a nurse's salary. The wedding was small, just family and close friends at the courthouse. Nicole wore white, which felt wrong given it was her 3rd marriage, but I kept my mouth shut. Daddy was happy. That's what mattered. After the wedding, Nicole moved into Daddy's house, the house I grew up in, the house that still had Mama's pictures on the walls, Mama's china in the cabinet, Mama's garden in the backyard. Within 2 months, all of that was gone. Nicole redecorated everything, erased every trace of my mother like she never existed. When I confronted Daddy about it, he just said, "Tamara, Nicole is my wife now. She needs to make this house her home too." 8 months after they got married, Daddy started getting sick. It started small. He'd complain about being tired, having stomach aches, feeling weak. He went to the doctor multiple times. They ran tests but couldn't find anything specific, just vague diagnoses. Stress, getting older, maybe acid reflux. Take these pills, change your diet. But Daddy kept getting worse. He lost 30 pounds in 3 months. His skin turned gray. He couldn't work anymore, could barely get out of bed. I'd come visit him every week, and each time he looked worse. Nicole was always there, playing the devoted wife. She'd bring him meals, give him his medications, sit by his bedside. "I'm taking such good care of him. Don't you worry, Tamara. Your daddy's in good hands." But something felt wrong. My nursing instincts were screaming that this wasn't natural illness. People don't just deteriorate like that without cause. I suggested we take him to a specialist, get a second opinion. Nicole shut it down immediately. The doctors already said it's nothing serious. He just needs rest and my home cooking. Daddy died 4 months later. Heart failure, the death certificate said. But I knew something was wrong. A healthy 58-year-old man doesn't just die of heart failure out of nowhere. At the funeral, Nicole cried dramatically, threw herself on the casket, wailed about losing her soulmate. I watched her performance and felt sick. 1 week after the funeral, we met with Daddy's lawyer to read the will. I wasn't worried about inheritance. I just wanted closure, wanted to understand what Daddy had wanted. But what I heard made my blood run cold. The lawyer, Mr. Patterson, an elderly black man who'd known my family for decades, cleared his throat and read, "I, Robert Washington, being of sound mind and body, leave my entire estate to my beloved wife, Nicole Mitchell Washington. This includes my house, my savings, my life insurance policy, and my business assets." I sat there stunned. Everything? Every single thing went to a woman he'd known for barely a year? Mr. Patterson continued, looking uncomfortable. Robert did leave a provision for his daughter, Tamara Washington. She is to receive a one-time payment of $10,000 from the estate. $10,000. That was it? From a man worth over $400,000? From my father, the man who raised me, who told me I was his whole world. Nicole sat across from me, and for just a second, I saw it. The smile. The tiny, satisfied smile that told me everything. She'd gotten exactly what she wanted. After the meeting, I confronted her in the parking lot. "You changed his will, didn't you? You manipulated him." Nicole looked at me with cold eyes. "Your father loved me. He wanted to take care of me. Maybe if you'd visited more, been a better daughter, he would have left you more." She got in her car and drove away, and I stood there shaking with rage. For 6 months, I didn't speak to Nicole. I was grieving, angry, trying to process everything. I moved into a new apartment using that $10,000. I threw myself into my work at the hospital, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Then Nicole called me out of the blue. Her voice was sweet, apologetic. "Tamara, honey, I know we haven't talked. I know you're hurting. I'm hurting too. Your father wouldn't want us to be divided like this. Why don't you come over for Sunday dinner? Let's try to heal. Try to be family like Robert wanted." Part of me wanted to hang up, but another part, the part that missed my daddy desperately, wanted to go back to that house one more time. So I agreed. That first Sunday dinner, Nicole was the perfect hostess. She'd made all of Daddy's favorite foods, fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread. She set the table with Mama's old dishes, the ones I thought she'd thrown away. "I saved these for you," she said with a warm smile. "I know they meant a lot to your family." We ate, we talked, we even laughed a little. For a few hours, it felt almost normal, almost like family. At the end of the night, Nicole hugged me tight. "Let's do this Sunday evenings. It's what your father would have wanted." And I agreed, because I was lonely, because I missed Daddy, because I wanted to believe people could change. The Sunday dinners became a routine. Every week, I'd drive to Nicole's house, and she'd have a huge meal prepared. She'd insist I take home leftovers, big containers of food that would last me half the week. "You work such long hours at that hospital," she'd say. "I worry you're not eating properly. Take this home, baby. Let me take care of you." And I'd take the food gratefully because nurses' pay doesn't leave much room for fancy meals. But around week 3, I started feeling strange. At first, it was just fatigue. I thought it was from working double shifts. Then came the nausea, the stomach cramps, the headaches. I'd wake up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My coworkers started commenting, "Girl, you look terrible. Are you sleeping?" I chalked it up to stress, to grief, to working too hard. But by month 2, I was seriously sick. I was losing weight, losing hair. My skin looked gray. I'd have dizzy spells at work. One time I nearly passed out while drawing blood from a patient. My supervisor sent me home, told me to see a doctor. I went through the same thing Daddy had gone through. Multiple doctors, multiple tests, vague diagnoses. Maybe it's anemia. Maybe it's a vitamin deficiency. Maybe it's depression. Take these pills, get more rest. But I kept getting worse. And the whole time, Nicole was there, so concerned, so caring. She'd call me multiple times a week. Are you eating the food I sent home with you? You need to keep your strength up, baby. My best friend since nursing school, Jasmine Rodriguez, finally confronted me. We were having coffee at my apartment and she looked at me with worried eyes. Tamara, I'm scared. You look exactly like those poisoning victims we studied in school. The gradual weight loss, the hair loss, the organ symptoms. Have you considered that someone might be making you sick intentionally? I laughed it off. Girl, who would poison me? I live alone. I barely see anyone except you and Nicole. Jasmine's eyes went sharp. Nicole, your stepmother who inherited everything from your father, who conveniently started these weekly dinners right before you got sick. I shook my head. That's crazy. She's been nothing but kind to me. But Jasmine wouldn't let it go. When did you start feeling sick? About 3 weeks after the dinner started. And when do the symptoms get worse? I thought about it. Usually middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday. What do you eat midweek? Mostly the leftovers Nicole sends home with me. Jasmine grabbed my hands. Tamara, listen to me as your friend and as a nurse. Stop eating her food, not another bite. If you start feeling better, we'll know. I wanted to argue, but something in Jasmine's voice made me pause. That night, I threw away all of Nicole's food, every container, every meal, and I stopped going to Sunday dinners, made excuses that I was working, too busy, needed rest. Within 2 weeks of not eating Nicole's food, I started feeling better. The nausea decreased, the headache stopped, my energy came back. I could work full shifts without feeling like I was dying. Jasmine was right. Nicole was poisoning me. But I needed proof. I needed evidence before I could go to the police. So I came up with a plan. Nicole had mentioned she was going to a church conference that next weekend, would be gone all day Saturday. I still had a key to the house from when Daddy was alive. Saturday morning, I let myself in. The house was empty, silent. I started searching, looking for anything suspicious. I checked the kitchen first, went through every cabinet, every drawer. That's when I found it. Hidden behind the flour and sugar containers in the pantry, there was an old recipe book. Mama's old recipe book that I thought was lost. I pulled it out, started flipping through pages, and my heart stopped. These weren't Mama's recipes anymore. Nicole had turned it into a poison journal. Page after page of detailed notes. Day 1, added zero point 0.5 milligrams arsenic powder to Sunday chicken. Should cause mild stomach upset. Week 2, increased to 1 milligram in mac and cheese. Tamara showing expected symptoms, nausea, fatigue. Month 3, 2 milligram doses, hair loss beginning, on schedule. There were dozens of entries going back 8 months, and at the very end, circled in red ink, final dose 5 milligrams, 3 days from now, should cause complete organ failure, death will appear natural. I took photos of every single page with my phone. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the camera steady. Then I put the book back exactly where I found it and got out of that house. I called Jasmine immediately, crying so hard I could barely speak. She came over within an hour and we looked at the photos together. We need to go to the police right now, Jasmine said. But I shook my head. Not yet. I need her to confess. I need everyone to know what she did, not just to me, but to my father. I had a better plan. I called Nicole that night. Hey, I'm feeling so much better. I'd love to come to Sunday dinner this week. I've missed our time together. I could hear the smile in her voice. Oh, baby, I'm so glad. I've missed you too. I'll make all your favorites. That Sunday, I showed up at her house with a hidden recorder in my purse. During dinner, I casually mentioned, I was thinking about Daddy, how fast he got sick. It was almost similar to what I went through, almost identical symptoms. Nicole's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Is that right? Yeah, and I was reading about arsenic poisoning in one of my nursing journals. The symptoms match perfectly. Gradual weight loss, hair loss, organ symptoms. Have you considered that someone might be making you sick intentionally? Her face went pale, then red. What are you suggesting? I pulled out my phone, showed her photos of her poison journal. I'm suggesting you murdered my father and you attempted to murder me. Nicole's mask dropped completely. Her eyes went cold and hard. You stupid girl. You were supposed to be dead by now. Do you know how much planning this took? Your father's life insurance was $300,000, but it took 4 months to kill him because I had to be careful, had to make it look natural. And then there you were, his precious daughter, the one thing standing between me and selling this house, cashing everything out, living my life. As long as you were alive, you could contest things, ask questions, cause problems. I needed you gone, too. Why did you bring me back for Sunday dinners then? Why not just leave me alone? Nicole laughed, actually laughed, because if you died with us not speaking, people would have been suspicious. But if we'd reconciled, if I was the caring stepmother taking care of my poor, sick stepdaughter, no one would question when you passed away from the same mysterious illness that took your father. She smiled. It was the perfect plan, and it would have worked if you stopped eating my food. I smiled back. It's the perfect plan, Nicole. Perfect evidence. I pulled my phone from my pocket, stopped the recording. I've recorded everything, and I've already sent the photos of your journal to my lawyer, my best friend, and the police. They're probably on their way here right now. I wasn't lying. Jasmine had called the police the moment I walked into that house. Nicole lunged at me, but I was faster. I was young, healthy, and she was a middle-aged woman who got sloppy with overconfidence. I held her off until I heard the sirens. Nicole Mitchell Washington was arrested that night. She was charged with first-degree murder of my father and attempted murder of me. The trial was quick. The evidence was overwhelming. My testimony, the journal, the recording of her confession, forensic analysis of Daddy's body that confirmed arsenic poisoning. The jury deliberated for 2 hours, guilty on all counts. The judge gave her life in prison without possibility of parole. As they led her away in chains, she looked at me one last time and screamed, "You were supposed to die. Everything was supposed to be mine." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You picked the wrong daughter to poison. I'm a nurse. I know symptoms, and I had a friend who cared enough to connect the dots." Nicole's entire life unraveled. The house, Daddy's money, everything was reversed. As my only biological child, and with Nicole being a convicted murderer, I inherited everything that should have been mine from the beginning. I sold that house, couldn't live there after everything that happened. I used the money to open a free clinic in my father's name, helping people who couldn't afford health care. It's what Daddy would have wanted. Every day I work there, I think about how close I came to dying. How if Jasmine hadn't been paying attention, if I hadn't stopped eating that food, if I hadn't found that journal, I'd be dead and Nicole would have gotten away with it all. My name is Tamara Washington. I'm 28 years old, and I survived my stepmother's 8-month plan to murder me. If this story opened your eyes to how evil can hide behind kindness, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Share this story because somewhere someone else might need to hear that their gut feeling is right. Subscribe for more stories of survival, justice, and taking back your life. Check out the other videos on my screen. Thank you for listening to my truth.